Yeah, so we're going to be using the gauntlet and other items like I just did more frequently. Just because they're free and my weapons / armor, when they're in an inventory slot, don't seem to ever break. So there doesn't seem to be, other than the fact that depending on who's using it, their magic may be higher or lower. And also it's a mid-tier magic. So, but you're saving, you don't use a spell cast, quote unquote. You know, because you have a limited number of spell casts between Julia and Greg. They have, you know, whatever, 9 1s, 9 2s, 9 3s. As they level up, they get more, obviously. But in this case, you can use Thundera or Heal or whatever's in these attached to these types of items indefinitely. There's a system in Final Fantasy I don't necessarily agree with. There's a system called throw where you have a weapon and you throw it, and then the weapon is like this is the part I don't agree with. You take the weapon and you throw it. It's a way of both you're discarding the weapon, at the same time you're using it sort of like a one last hurrah for that weapon before you essentially throw it into the darkness, never to be found again. Whereas like if you took a spear and you threw it and it hit the opponent, provided like the handle didn't snap, you could still use that spear, resharpen it or whatever, put a new handle on it, what have you, and use the spear over and over again. After each battle, you know, you'd have, say, one ability to, say, throw, I don't know, a shuriken, okay? And either it hits the target, misses the target. Either way, you don't get to use it again that battle, you know, unless you have another copy of it. But at the end of the battle, you pick it up and put it back in your pocket so you can throw it again. And I understand the way the throw mechanics work is not exactly based on that. It seems to do, you know, weapons seem to do a lot of damage regardless of what you're throwing. So it's sort of like a trade-off between the fact that you don't ever gonna use this sword again. You throw it, you're not gonna get to sell it. You know, not gonna make a gil off of it. And at the same time, like I said, you think you'd be able to pick up this stupid thing and put it back in your pocket when the battle's over. But that's not how that works. And obviously certain weapons make more sense than others, like if you had some sort of like shuriken or dagger or something, that makes sense. Throwing knives makes sense to throw, whereas like an Excalibur or a scimitar, not so much. Doesn't really make a lot of sense that you would throw anything like that away. But and again, you know, I'm talking like you can pick up the daggers, you can pick up the spear, you can pick up the knives that you've thrown away and reuse them, or they can be really cheap, but usually neither of those is true. Usually weapons are at least $100+ and then you're gonna throw or basically dump all that into the garbage can in the hopes that the stupid thing would do max damage, which it doesn't always do. Sometimes it does as little as like double digits, depending on what you're throwing, depending on who's throwing it, depending on what game it is. I am thankful that this game doesn't have, like, enemies don't seem to have attacks. I know there are a couple, so don't crucify me for this, but enemies don't seem to have attacks that are exclusive to them. Like I haven't run into an enemy that's done like a, I don't know if it exists at this point, but like a flare. My black magic cannot learn flare. He can learn up to fire guy. He cannot learn like a higher level version of fire, which would be considered like a flare, which in different Final Fantasy games it's been a non-elemental item, Flare spin non-elemental. In 7 it was fire-based. That's why I sort of mentioned it as being fire-based, but luckily this game doesn't really put too many enemies in there that can do like a meteor spell when you don't have access to meteor. Or Ultima when you don't have access to Ultima. Or I'm thinking about clocks for some reason. Probably has something to do with something for work, I think. Dead. Alright. More gold. I don't need any more gold, thank you though. Again, prefer gold over, say, stupid item I'm never gonna use, but X potion over gold right now? Yes, 100%. Big ethers, you know, like dry ethers, would prefer. Nice, nice, nice. Oh, there's... No, I see these water elementals are, whatever you want to call it, represented by hurricane, wind stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's because that makes more sense than like an elemental djinn just recoloring the fire djinn again. Yes, please. Like how like Cure is like, I'm gonna heal like 50 damage, and then Cure is like, I'll heal like 100 damage. Cure is like, okay, we're gonna reach 150 here, and then you get to level 4, which is called Cureja or Curega. That does max health. Okay. So not even like a percentage, no, it's just like not 999 health. Like, okay. Whatever you say. I mean, full heal is fine. I'm just a little surprised that you decided to, you know, not have, say, Curaga be like a step up between, say, Cura and Curja. I could use, but I'm not gonna. Fire, dead. So the 3 mummies are undeads, the rest of the guys are birds, which will be none affected by Daija. Something like that. But we do need to get rid of all these guys as quickly as possible, so maybe this makes more sense to do it that way. So this does vastly increase my attack. So this works pretty well with the current setup of the dark mage or black mage, dark wizard, whatever he's called now. More gold. Drive me nuts with gold. I mean, I know I'm not even. Well, I'm like a third of the way to max or so. Less than that, but still, it just like mind-boggling. Because if I were to take all my money and just dump it into the items that I can buy at the local stores, minus say buying multiple copies of armor and weapons, like, you know, like I could practically buy and sell this world at this point with the amount of treasure I keep getting. Why it is that it always seems like the water areas in most games are the most annoying one. Like, you know, obviously the big one is Ocarina of Time, Zelda. The water cave is notoriously bad. Though I would say that the water cave in Link to the Past is kind of complicated as well. Turns you around a little bit. Now this is clearly the worst of the Four Fiends layers, just because, I don't know, maybe they're about equal to, say, Earth and Fire, but in terms of like length and like complexity, this seems to be like on a different tier. Like, if you want to collect everything, you can, but add +1 hour to your playthrough. Light act. I already have one of these, so there's no point in me equipping it, and unless I need a double Daija, I think I'm not going to be using it too much either. And it's item form. Dead. Dead. Rising. Gold, gold, gold. Ribbons are great. I love ribbons. Ribbon. Ribbon guards against elemental attacks and status effects. One ribbon in my hair, please. It'll help prevent status damage be done to me, hopefully. Come on. So we did have a break from the weather here recently. We got a little bit of rain, but not enough that it would like flood. And the temperatures have been cooler, so like it doesn't feel like as oppressive to be out in the shop working. But nevertheless, it's still a very warm place to be right now. It's not in the 90s, but say mid to upper 80s, which in some ways is much cooler. It's like obviously 5 degrees Fahrenheit cooler, but just feels like, oh hey, some of that nighttime air sticks around longer than 15 minutes before you just dumped right in the middle of summer again. Not quite, Chris. Need to keep searching all these rooms to make sure you got all the treasures. You don't want to have to backtrack. Or maybe you do, I don't know. Might be simpler to backtrack off screen instead of having to talk about it while looking for treasure chests. It's okay. It's okay. Triple okay. Alright, well that's not nice. Chris, don't use all your high potions. They're completely useless to me at this point. I could use 20 more high potions immediately buy, like, you know, twice that amount. Still have money left over. Unless there's like an area, like a hidden area where I can buy a whole bunch of like very high quality, you know, highly dependable weapons that I'm just not aware of that are very expensive. I think we're gonna be very, very, very wealthy between the four of us after this. And not just because the king maybe want to give me a little pat on the back and say, here, have $1 million billion gil, but like, I've been just pulling these treasure chests. I've got so much money that like, even if I divided it amongst the 4 warriors evenly, you know, I'd still be living their best lives probably for the rest of their existence. I have not run into one of you the entire time I was down here. It's kind of lucky because I need him for the bestiary. He happens to be a hard to pull enemy. It might be a saving grace in terms of hours spent down here grinding, trying to try and find him. Alright, let's prepare ourselves for the actual boss battle now by healing ourselves. At least as close as we're willing to get, anyways. You humans do impress. I would not have thought to see you here. Is me, the Kraken. Do you think you can defeat the Fiend of Water here on your own, in my own domain? Fools, these dark depths shall be your tomb. Hello, Kraken. I don't have any magic, unfortunately. That's okay. Magic. Drop a holy on him. Do it. Do it. Drop a holy on him. Yep. Stop trying to make me blind. Give my character these cool sunglasses, but I don't want to actually miss. Yeah, I'm doing big damage with those guys. Hooray.